crazy fan theory is actually starting to pick up momentum, so we'll check that out, and how it affects Liv Morgan and Dominik Mysterio. Starting things off, the latest for Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan's potential WrestleMania 42 program. Ever since winning the Royal Rumble match, Liv Morgan has been going back and forth on Raw and Smackdown, really paying close attention to both champions and trying to make a decision of which of the two champions she wants to face. She's been building up a little story with both Stephanie and Jade just to keep guessing about who she's going to pick. But for weeks now, we've been saying that it feels like Liv has to select Stephanie. That just feels like the right matchup. That's why everyone has been expecting Liv to pick Stephanie. Although Liv has not made her official selection at the time of this recording, the moment from February 16th edition of Raw made it really seem like Liv just received all the motive and reasoning in the world to pick Stephanie. And this moment took place with the backstage interview between Liv Morgan and Michael Cole. It was supposed to be a standard backstage interview with Liv Morgan, but Stephanie came storming into the room and absolutely unloaded on Liv Morgan. Stephanie went off with a full speech about basically denying Liv's entire career journey. Stephanie said that Liv's 10 years of grinding for her career was a bunch of BS. Stephanie claimed that everything was easy for Liv Morgan and handed to her, and that Liv had the best doctors, trainers, and all the other tools available to her with easy access, while Stephanie herself had to come up and grind for her career out of Chile, where pro wrestling did not have a presence at. Stephanie actually faced some criticism for that line about Chile not having a pro wrestling presence. She later took to her Instagram story to clarify what she meant, saying that she was aware that there's a strong wrestling presence in Chile in current day. It just meant that when she was growing up and wanting to become a pro wrestler, Chile didn't have any wrestling presence back then at the time. So Stephanie's argument was that Liv never had to grind for anything, that Liv's sacrifices were nothing compared to what she sacrificed. Stephanie said that she went to Japan, Mexico, and all of Latin America and Europe to get where she's at today, all things that Liv never had to conquer and grind through. Stephanie said that Liv just hides behind Judgment Day and Dominik Mysterio, but that if Liv picks her at WrestleMania, she's going to lose, and she's going to show her what a real champion is. As Stephanie walks away from delivering that speech, Liv Morgan bursts into tears and leaves the interview early with Dominik. So, what went down here, and why did Liv Morgan just break down there and cry? Some fans are being harsh to this segment and the reaction from Liv's character, but it is a nice reaction because it really humanizes Liv's character. It adds more layers and depth to Liv Morgan as a character. She's not just plain a boring evil person. Liv crying establishes the depth that she's a human being. She does have feelings. And Liv crying could be a seed planted for Liv's decision to pick Stephanie. So Liv crying is not just a random event, but this could be the big event that makes Liv pick her selection. What Stephanie said about her own journey is 100% true though, and she deserves all the praise in the world for grinding out through that tough position and making it to the top. But the reason why Liv is crying here was because Stephanie basically dismissed Liv's entire career's work. Did Liv have to come from another country and travel the world just to get a WWE opportunity? No, she did not, but there's no reason to dismiss her entire career and claim that she had to have everything handed to her the easy way. Because if you've seen Liv Morgan's documentary, or even if you've seen her full career in WWE, you know that's not the case. Liv Morgan was not one of those superstars that just came in on fire, that was handpicked and backed by the system. With superstars like that, which are handpicked by the company, you can always argue that they did not have to grind intensely hard because their spot was basically handed right over to them. But with Liv Morgan, what Liv said about grinding for 10 years to get to this spot, that's all completely true. Liv did not come into the main roster as a top threat like Charlotte Flair or Tiffany Stratton. Liv came on the main roster at the very bottom of the card, pretty much remained there for the first few years of her career. It wasn't until 2022 that she broke through and won her first world title. And then it wasn't until 2024 that she absolutely blew up and became a main event caliber superstar. So Stephanie's entire narrative that Liv Morgan had an easy life and an easy career path is not true at all. And it feels like that's what truly made Liv Morgan cry. The fact that Stephanie could be that cruel and just that wrong to dismiss and ignore Liv Morgan's 10 years of grinding in WWE. It feels like that's the nerve that got hit there for Liv Morgan. Stephanie put this label and tag on Liv Morgan that couldn't be any further from the truth. And it seems like that's what really got under Liv's skin. The fact that Stephanie basically told Liv that you haven't beaten anyone, you haven't grinded, and everything was given to you, all things that aren't true at all. Liv Morgan is someone that has beat Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and several more top names in WWE over the years. So it's that intense amount of disrespect that Stephanie dropped on Liv that's making it feel like that's going to be the reason Liv selects Stephanie. Jade Cargill is a heel, but even Jade did not fully disrespect Liv Morgan like that. Only thing that Jade said was that she would beat Liv Morgan at WrestleMania. But Stephanie is over here dismissing and ignoring Liv's personal life, her career grind, everything she's worked for, pretty much saying that Liv is phony and cannot beat her. So between those two cases right there, Liv Morgan would definitely have to have more to prove against Stephanie. After what Stephanie said there during that backstage interview, Liv has the fuel and motivation she needed to pick Stephanie and to prove to her that she is a real competitor, showing her nothing was handed to her and take that title from Stephanie. So that's what makes it seem like this backstage interview moment really just locked up Liv's pick for WrestleMania 42. We know on paper that Liv is the heel and Stephanie's the babyface, but after that backstage interview moment, it feels like the narrative shifted a bit there, because suddenly, Liv Morgan suddenly feels like the underdog with a chip on her shoulder that has something to prove. So we don't know if that narrative shift was intentional or not, but you can definitely feel the tides turning a little bit there coming out of that segment. And the other fan theory that more and more fans are discussing is the idea of Dominik Mysterio leaving Liv Morgan in favor of Stephanie, a subtle clue that fans picked up on towards the end of the backstage interview segment. Throughout this segment, Dominik is serving as a translator for Liv, converting everything Stephanie is saying in Spanish to English for Liv to understand. But for the very last part of Dominik's translation to Liv Morgan, Dominik throws in a line there that Stephanie never said. Stephanie's closing moments in the speech was about how if Liv picks her, she's going to show Liv what a real champion is. That's it. That's the last thing she said. But as Dominik's translating that final sentence to Liv, Dominik claims that Stephanie said, "You should be embarrassed." Fans all agree that Stephanie never said that line of "you should be embarrassed." So fans are wondering if something got lost in there in Dominik's translation of the speech, or if this was an intentional character move by Dominik Mysterio to stir the pot and instigate the situation. Was that Dominik adding his own little spice to what Stephanie said to maybe even manipulate Liv into picking Stephanie for WrestleMania? That line there by Dominik has fans on high alert right now about a potential betrayal of Liv Morgan, because Stephanie never said that line that Dominik translated there at the end. So what in the world was that about? Is Dominik trying to push Liv Morgan into picking Stephanie for WrestleMania 42 so that he can turn around and decide to play hero for Stephanie? Maybe Liv has Stephanie beat at WrestleMania, but it's Dominik who screws over Liv Morgan, helps Stephanie win, and then Dominik fully aligns with Stephanie to once again kick off another top heel relationship in WWE. The only issue with that fan theory is that it's identical to SummerSlam 2024, so that's something to watch out for there. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.